Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
To this nation and all of us, you cannot repent too soon, because you do not know how soon it may be too late. Amen. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America, followed by a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance on a Thursday. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And a good morning to you. I'm Zeb Bell. Zeb at the Ranch on a Thursday, November 29th, the last Thursday of this month. And welcome to our program this morning, sponsored by major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And, of course, some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
My friend.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Appreciate it, Doug, and call back in a little bit. I'd like to hear from you. Thank you, sir. And right now, let's go to the weather forecast, brought to you by K&R Rental. Hello, Roger and the crew at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Right there, you couldn't miss them on the Burley-Paul Highway. My goodness, you talk about a big front lawn, you better see what they've got over there. All the tools and equipment to finish any construction project. And if you're not sure what you need, call them. Talk to them. They can help. 678-3122, K&R Rental. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Patchy freezing fog, maybe some rain showers and snow showers by tonight. Here's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. 30% chance of rain and or snow showers as we make our way through the day. Patchy, freezing morning fog. Winds are going to be picking up as well. Gusts as high as 21 miles an hour. Expecting a high of 45 tonight. More rain and or snow likely. Snow up in the higher elevations. New snow accumulations of 1 to 3 inches is possible. Expecting a low of 29 tomorrow. That snow's going to continue in the morning. Tapering off by the afternoon. Expecting a high of 40. More snow showers for Friday night with a low of 21, and by Saturday, mostly sunny skies and 35. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina, and the weather brought to you this hour to start things off on the get-go at Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. They get there early in the morning. Throw the doors open at 7 a.m. and say, come on in, world. They've got everything you need, tools and equipment to finish any project. Call them. Questions 678-3122, K&R Rental. Merv May, come on in here, my friend.
All right, hey, good set of steer calves there, here to get all our 31 moment.
Oh, that's the chant of the world's best doggone auctioneer over at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, Merv May at 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. And along with Cade Rogge and Lance Udy, the sale that works for you. Sale time this morning at 10 a.m. Don't miss it. Boy, have they got a good run of cattle coming in today. Let's try to hit some of a partial list here. Kelly War out of Grouse Creek. Hello, Kelly. A semi-load of 500 pounds pound calves. Della Ranches at Grouse Creek. They're going to bring in a semi-load of mixed cattle with broken mouth calvy cows. And then, of course, Wood River Ranches up at Bellevue, bringing in 40 head of broken mouth calvy cows. Moj Brody out at Arco. Hello, Moj, semi-load of heiferettes and a good run of Utah feeder cattle coming up to the sale. Butcher cows coming into the ring from P-Bar S Dairy at Malda, 40 head. Acme Dairy's bringing in some butcher cows, and Antelope Hills bringing in butcher cows, as is Funk Dairy. Sale time this morning at 10 a.m. Don't miss it at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Number to call for sale information or cattle consignments, 678-9411. Merv, sell those steers.
All right, hey, good set of steer calves there. Here to get $1.31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, 32, 2.5, 3.5, 134, 4.5, 5.5, 5.5, 135, 50, 135, and I sell them $1.35. Zeb Mel, get bottom again.
Well, I tell you what, I'll take that price anytime. Thank you very much. We have a lot of things to accomplish here this morning, so we're going to get right with the program right after we remind you about our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Over 6 decades. Wow, that's so impressive to be in business that long and growing yet and prospering and serving you. All your heating and cooling and electrical needs right there at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. The number to call, 678-0459. They're open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday, and it's not brag, it's a fact. They are the best at what they do. Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley. Oh boy, you're going to have to bear with me occasionally on this cough that will not go away. And Deanne and I are trying all kinds of interesting and weird little remedies to get rid of that dry cough that's been lingering with us for over a month. And fortunately, hers has started to subside a little bit. And mine, I thought everything was rosy until day before yesterday. And it came back. Okay. Hey, we're going to be over at Denny's restaurant today for lunch bunch. Today at 11:30. Don't forget Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner at 611 North Overland in Burley. And the best of breakfast, lunch, dinner, anytime, all the time. Friendly people serving you. Oh, yes. And our lunch bunch gift certificate sponsors, we thank Walmart, Smith's Foods, Handsome Mortuary, Stokes Groceries, Doug Martin, and Denny's. Thank you so much. And today at 11:30 is lunch bunch. And a quick reminder that we're going to have the Denny's Old-Fashioned Christmas Party Thursday, December 13th on the air as I broadcast from 8 to 11 at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. We're going to have Christmas carols, lots of prizes to give away. Santa Claus is going to be there. Ashley Ludlow's going to be singing Christmas carols, Loot in the Boot. It's going to be a lot of fun. Don't forget, put that on your calendar for Thursday, December 13th. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. When I heard this story, of course, you know me and my very short German temper, I went right up in the air and was fighting mad. To all of our servicemen and women that are serving our country, regardless of the capacity, regardless of the rank, and regardless of where they are, I salute you and absolutely hold you in the deepest respect. There was a gathering in Philadelphia. It was kind of a rally, as a matter of fact. It was a pro-America rally, supporting God and country. I want to say that again. Supporting God and country. And there were some Antifa creeps. I mean, vermin. Now, somebody criticized me here a couple of weeks ago for really kind of name-calling and being derogatory against Antifa members. It's going to get worse, folks. You don't like it, turn the dial. Bums. Worthless punks. I could go on as to what I think Antifa is. Some of these Antifa worthless punks stood on the sidelines of this God and Country rally, and they started calling our United States Marines Nazis, and then some of them moved in and punched and kicked our Marines. One young man holding a United States flag was hit in the back of the head with a pipe. And it took 4 staples to close the wound. Now, to all you bleeding heart liberals out there that, oh, let's not fight, let's all hold hands and sing Kumbaya and make chocolate s'mores. No. It is time. It is past time in this country to literally turn the Marines and everybody else loose. And when I say turn them loose, I mean let them go get these vermin and, if need be, beat the living daylights out of them in a personality adjustment, because this kind of garbage has got to stop. Nothing at all wrong with a God and country rally, paying tribute to our great United States of America and our Creator. But these Antifa vermin standing on the sidelines and letting this escalate to where our Marines are punched and kicked, and then a young man holding a United States flag is hit in the head with a pipe, could have killed him easily. And then some of the police say, well, some of the suspects were maced, and then there were complaints against them. Some weren't even arrested. Some were just let go. Why? Why? We are on a downhill crash with the values of our country if we don't, and I'm going to say it, fight back. Your thoughts. Give me a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I can't imagine my audience not responding on this. Antifa has their garbage, Portland, Oregon, down in Phoenix, Arizona, L.A., all over the country. And now spitting on our Marines, hitting them, calling them Nazis. That's it. Let's stop it right now. I want to issue Merry Christmas wishes from our friends at AMI, 719 Overland in Burley. Look for the big 28-foot wrench over the door and go nuts over their bolts. Yes, sirree. Great local business serving all the customers, and they wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Along with Clark's for Shopping at 100 East Main Street in Oakley. Oh, they've got that delicious, famous sausage from Grandma's recipe and bulk patties or links, along with everything else in the store. Fantastic at Clark's for Shopping in Oakley. And Dot Foods, 1541 West 27th Street in Burley. Dot Foods would like to say thank you to the Minnecasia community for all their support and for making Dot Foods the nation's largest food industry redistributor. They all wish you a very Merry Christmas. Calls welcome. I'm really surprised you haven't called in on this story. I really am, because this one took the cake this morning for me. And to think that we are allowing these people to absolutely hurt and intimidate and attack our Marines and private citizens that are having a rally to support God and country? Wow. This can't go on. This cannot go on. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Well, I'm waiting for your phone call that should be coming in. Don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Yes, I will be back there again this afternoon. Working on my old leg. You betcha. Nick Greenwell and all the physical therapists over there, they really do a great job of getting you back to being you. I mean, whether you're coming back from a surgery or an accident or whatever the case might be, please call, make an appointment. They are so good and so caring and so knowledgeable. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, 678-1191. You call them today. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, they need to untie the hands of the Marines, the Air Force, the Army, the National Guard, everybody. When somebody shows up to demonstrate and they carry in pipes and have their faces covered, that reminds me of the KKK.
They're nothing more than worthless punks. They're worthless punks. And Wheels, turn him up just a little bit, please. Doug, I am going to be criticized again. There's going to be emails coming in. I know they will, because we have some of these do-gooders and liberal loons living right here in this area. It's time to fight back, Doug. We can't allow our society to go to hell like this.
No, we can't. The laws need to be upheld, equal application of the laws. That gentleman that, I call him a gentleman because I'm on the air, that hit the Marine in the back of the head with a pipe needs to go to jail for a long time.
For assault and battery, the potentiality of killing that man, and any other charges that can be filed, nail his body to a tree, because I'll tell you what, this has got to stop.
And as soon as we start doing that, like the same Antifa people that been on Tucker Carlson's front lawn, painted his driveway and his car, nobody was arrested. If nobody has any consequences for their actions, they're going to keep doing it.
You know, in the old days, and I dare somebody to tell me I'm wrong, if, let's say, the old days of Gunsmoke in Dodge City, let's go back there 150 years. And all of a sudden, some of the community leaders are out in the street, and here comes a bunch of punks and everything, and they start beating on them, spitting on them, and calling them names, and hitting somebody in the head with a pipe. You don't think that old Matt Dillon or Wyatt Earp from the old days wanted to come out there, and I'll guarantee you the bad guys would not have been standing.
Nope. And the ones that were would be in prison or in jail or swinging from a rope.
We have got to install back in this country again respect for the law and respect for what's right and wrong. You tell me, or anybody call me and tell me what's wrong with having a very organized rally for God and country.
Nothing. Not a thing. It needs to happen more often. We need to get the younger people excited about America instead of, I seen this morning, 46% of the youth think America was never great.
Oh my gosh, when I heard this and I read these statistics and I pulled it off, thanks to my wife on the computer, I sat there and my mouth fell down. I couldn't believe 46% of the millennials 22 to age 37, they absolutely thought that Barack Obama was a bigger impact on this nation than George Washington. And 63% said they thought America was an evil, racist country, and 41% admitted they've never even read or studied the Constitution.
Exactly. We need to, before you graduate high school, you need to take a exam like anybody that's coming into this country legally has to take the exam before they can become a citizen. You need to take that exam before you can graduate high school.
What is wrong with us as a nation, as a single entity, all across from sea to shining sea? What is the matter with us that we are denigrating to allow violence and bad people to do bad things to good people? What's going on here?
It was apathy. Everybody was just happy the way things were going. Don't rock the boat. And the left kept marching forward and marching forward. I sent you a video of a gentleman in 1950.
Yes.
Made a speech.
Yep.
And everything he said is true.
Yeah, but Doug, right now today, though, with the situation with Antifa, I mean, I will be yelled at, you know this as well as anything, or Hannity or Tucker or anybody is going to be chewed out for what they, the liberal loons, say on the left. Oh, you're advocating violence. I'm not advocating violence. I'm talking about cleaning up Dodge City once and for all. That's what I'm saying.
You talk about enforcing the law equally.
Yes.
Yes. And one real quick deal on this caravan or invasion in Tijuana, that over 60% of them have a respiratory infection.
We're going to be talking about that right after the break here, and I tell you something, folks, this is not something that, oh, well, that's in somebody else's backyard. No, it's in our backyard.
Yep, it's coming to our backyard.
All right, Doug. God bless you, man. Thank you.
God bless. Let's do what we can for senior centers.
All right, sir.
Support them. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug, always. And I tell you what, I'm just infuriated this morning that evil and trashy, worthless people like Antifa, I'm not going to back up on that, can do and perpetrate and hurt and injure and basically get nothing more than a slap on the wrist? Oh, my goodness. Don't forget, on Tuesdays, we have the Stotz Equipment Company Ag Minutes at 9:46 on my program. And thanks to Vic and the rest of the great crew at Stotz Equipment Company, your John Deere dealer at 119 Overland in Burley. They make your life easier, and we have a great time every Tuesday talking to Vic about all things in agriculture and their service to the community. Don't forget, Stotz Equipment Company, your John Deere dealer. Thank you. Also, some great friends to everybody. Ark Animal Hospital. Oh, they care about your pets. They care about all your livestock. They want them to stay healthy. And the best thing to do is, if you think there's a problem, you call them right away. 678-1177. Cough. Hold on, everybody. Get rid of this cough one of these days. I'm going to have a celebration. Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Hayburn. Yes, sirree, Dr. Bill, Dr. Jordan, the whole staff, all of them really concerned about the health and welfare of your animals. So please remember, it's a mixed animal practice, big or small. They take care of all of them at Ark Animal Hospital, 678-1177, where they have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Absolutely. Caller, thank you for your time. Go ahead, you're on the air.
This is one of the good guys with the menu from the Burley Senior Center on South Overland in Burley, Idaho. Today we're going to have Salisbury steak, mashed potatoes and gravy, green beans, fruit jello, and assorted mix of pies.
Assorted yummy pies.
And we have takeout lunches that are available from 12 to 1. And just call in and they'll have one ready for you.
Okay.
We welcome everybody. We need your support.
Joe, let me ask you something at the Senior Junction, or for that matter anywhere. What is Joe Taylor's number one favorite of all-time pie?
Well, any'll do.
Any'll do. You're political, all right, old buddy. I appreciate it. Thanks, Joe Taylor. We appreciate it. We'll send everybody over to the Senior Junction.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You bet. Good guy right there, Joe Taylor. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. The crisis, and it is a crisis on the border. I said 3 weeks ago on this program, that the disease and the unsanitary conditions with this caravan were going to really cause problems. They are. And with the rainy season right now down in the southern extreme of our country and northern Mexico, it's only being exacerbated. It's worse than they expected. They've got cases of tuberculosis, chickenpox, hepatitis, HIV, AIDS, and uncountable infections of lice. Oh, good. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. Excuse me. The problem we have is now that our prisons are overcrowded, our jails are overcrowded, and so they're saying let's not be so mean to these people. And that's one of our problems, don't you think?
Wait a minute. Well, let's not be mean to these people. What in the world do you mean by let's not be mean to these people? Define that, please.
Well, by putting them in jail.
No.
Bad thing.
No, wait a minute, Keith. I got to really arbitrate with you on that. Number one, you and I, your wife Nancy, or anybody else never invited these people to come up and try to harass our Border Patrol agents and demand entry into the United States. We never asked them to do that. We would not do it to them. Case in point, when you have thugs and punks and everybody else that says we're coming in and you can't stop us, why then is it my fault? Why then is it your fault and we are being termed being mean to these people? Listen, right now more than ever before, I'm against it because of the medical services that are limited down there. They absolutely have no sanitation. They've got 35 porta potties for over 4,000 people. Do the math, man, and this isn't good.
Well, the ones I was talking about, it was when that Marine deal you started out with.
Well, see, now you didn't clarify. I thought you were talking about the border, and I did not know that you were talking about the Antifa problem with our soldiers. As far as being mean to Antifa, let me tell you something. It's time to carry a great big club and use it.
Yeah, but that's the reason why they're not enforcing this, is because they don't have any place to put all these stupid criminals.
Well, I don't want to use that as an excuse. Whether they're incarcerated, whether they're incarcerated at the bottom of a Kmart, I couldn't care less. But you can't let these people get away with the illegalities, the beatings and the spittings and the hitting and almost killing someone with a pipe to the back of the head. My gosh, Keith, I don't care if every prison cell is filled to what they call capacity, fill them to over capacity, because these punks have got to be punished.
Well, that's the problem. They know that they're not going to be seriously taken advantage of.
All right, so then you tell me, what do we do?
I don't really know. I don't. We try to enforce the law, then we got no place to put them. And that's their plea. I
wasn't being facetious a minute ago when I told you, Keith, that I don't care if it's in the bottom basement of a Kmart. I don't care if it's in the bottom of a old dilapidated A&W root beer stand. I don't care. Lock them up, chain them up, whatever, incarcerate them. These people are punks and thugs and dangers to our society.
Okay, now then we've got to rethink our law enforcement then, because now we've got to have a place to put these people because there's so many of them. We've got to put them in a pen or something like that, or they're going to continue to act just like they are.
Well, and I'm going to sound a little crass on this, and nor do I care, but it's high time to give a wink and a nod to our military and say, if these people are going to call you Nazis and they're going to come out and kick you and spit on you and beat on you, turn the Marines loose. And it's not incarceration they're going to have to worry about. It's finding enough medical beds.
Well, that would certainly be a good idea.
Keith, I appreciate your call. See you at Lunch Bunch, old buddy.
You bet.
Thank you. Thank you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Why do we always worry about the bad people? Why do we always worry about the perpetrators of a crime? Oh, well, their rights were stepped on. Why do we worry about them? What happened to worrying about maybe the family that their home was invaded? Why not worry about the Marine that was hit in the head with a pipe? Why not worry about the victims? Seems like we forgot about them. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't forget Dino Septic Service. And, of course, they've expanded their business to better serve you with the best of septic tank pumping. Ooh, you don't want to do that. And, of course, septic tanks and drain fields installed, and mainline irrigation installed and repaired, sewer and sink drain lines cleaned, liquid waste removal. All of this and more by people that really know how to do the job for you. Great service. Call them at 436-6526 or in Burley, 678-1700. 888-866-7638. Fast, fair, friendly service. Dino's Septic Service with the big truck that says, smells cargo on the way. Dino's Septic Service. Morning, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Well, I think that we've all just waited too long to be mean or whatever you want to call it. And I was down at my cousin's in Utah, and I decided that I physically can't do anything because of accidents that I've had. But I said, I'm calling my representatives. I've just had enough of it. And she said, why are you wasting your time? And I said, that's the only thing I can do.
Yeah.
And so I proceeded to call them and tell them how I felt about all this thing, which is I'm kind of on your page. But that's the only thing I could do. And if more people would do what they could do in that order, maybe it would help. I mean, I know we need action, but we also need people to call and tell our representatives this is how we feel.
Amen. God bless you for doing what you're doing. And I'll carry it a step further. When the Lincoln Day banquets occur in the early spring in February, do you and other people, do you go and attend and walk up to these people? I don't care if it's Crapo. I don't care if it's Risch. I certainly don't care if it's Simpson. And look them in the eye and say, listen, I have sent you letters. I have called your office, and I'm not getting any response. We hired you to be our voice in Washington, D.C., and see that these things are taken care of. What are you doing? I love to put politicians on the hot seat and watch them squirm because most of them today are cowards and have no backbone.
Well, I have moved up to the Boise area, and so I've had to call the representative up there, and unfortunately, I haven't got involved enough to know anything you're talking about.
Well, we are blessed here, ma'am. We are blessed here in this state, and I will say this, and I'm gonna. Sure, there's exceptions to every rule, but locally and throughout the state, with our congressmen and our senators, we have heads and shoulders better people serving us here in the state of Idaho than any that we have from any state representing us back on the Potomac in Washington, D.C.
And I did receive letters from both representatives that I called. And, of course, it might have been a form letter, but at least I tried.
Well, I commend you for that. I think I recognize this voice, and I want to extend to you a very Merry Christmas season. Thank you for taking the time to call.
Thanks.
God bless. Thank you. Very nice lady right there. And she's exasperated like I am. I'm just... Oh, man, I can't stand this. I don't want to see some young man laying on the ground, writhing in pain with his head split open, bleeding profusely. Oh, what'd he do? Well, he was standing there with an American flag. And some low-life, worthless vermin of Antifa came up and belted him in the back of the head with a lead pipe. Wow. You think it's not time to clean this mess up? It's past time. All of us should be absolutely fed up. Fed up. Some people, and I've heard this, and some people have said this to me, well, that was back in Philadelphia. Or, oh, well, that took place down in Phoenix. Oh, well, that took place over in Portland. What are you going to do when it's in your backyard? What are you going to do when it's in your main street? What are you going to do when it's on your front porch? Think about it. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Barry Equipment and Rental. And, of course, I tell you, every day they have everything. They've got all the equipment rentals, and they've got all the retail equipment sales. Now, they've got all the big equipment and the small equipment. I mean, really, they've got all the shapes and sizes of the different Bobcats. Absolutely. And right now, they've got a wonderful deal, 0% financing up to 60 months. 0% interest, I should say, up to 60 months. Whoa, you better check that out today. Barry Equipment and Rental. 159 West Highway 30 in Burley with Juan, good guy. And 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls with Eli, another good guy, and the Nampa location. They are the best at what they do in providing equipment for you. Barry Equipment and Rental in Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I really am shocked. I am. And I was talking to my Aunt Miriam back in Wisconsin the other day, and it just absolutely blows my mind that evil is taking over a lot in this country. I mean, a lot. I dare say that when I was a kid growing up back in Wisconsin, up in Madison when I was going to college up there, that if you'd have had some Marines standing in the middle of a street with an organized rally, God and country, nobody would have done anything to those folks at all. Most people would have chimed in and made it a bigger and more successful rally. But today, you've got worthless vermin standing on the street corner representing a group that absolutely is totally worthless, Antifa. And then they go out and spit on and call our Marines Nazis and then start punching and kicking them. Where's the public support? Wasn't any. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, good morning, Zeb. This is Jeff, your trucker buddy.
Yes, sir. Go ahead quickly.
Well, in my day, if somebody would have done that to one of the service members that I was in them, we would have got that guy and we'd have stomped him into a mud hole and then stomped the mud hole dry.
Oh, yeah, but today we can't say, Jeff, today we can't say anything that would equate to return violence. Oh, no, the bleeding heart liberals, they'd rather see crime and injury perpetrated by the bad guys. But, oh, no, the victims can't fight back. Why, that's terrible, Jeff.
Uh-huh. Well, how terrible is it for that Marine to have 4 staples put in the back of his head to close up the wound, and then this guy get off scot?
That's my whole point.
That's terrible.
That's my whole point, and I'm absolutely adamant. And I used a fictitious analogy of Matt Dillon and Dodge City, but you know something? I'm going to stand behind what I said this morning, Jeff, because we've got to stop this. It doesn't look like government. It doesn't look like law enforcement is going to jump in and really crack some heads with their little black batons. And when someone's attacked like this, we the people, we've got to jump in and save what's left of sanity in our country.
Absolutely. I'm amazed that some civilians there didn't jump in and grab that guy and then demand that he be charged and jailed.
They should have had him face down on the pavement with his arms behind him in a not very comfortable position and held until law enforcement got there, or the others that were with him and of his ilk. I have no time for these people.
To use one of the phrases that they use, Nazis, tie his hands in some Nazis.
Very well said. Thank you, Jeff, and we'll see you at Lunch Bunch, buddy. Thank you so much.
I'll see you at Lunch Bunch.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, honestly, folks, think about it. We've got to stop this garbage that's going on in this country. There is right. There is wrong. There is good, and there is evil. It's not that hard to figure it out. Don't forget, Burley Livestock is going to be presenting a 3rd annual bred cow sale, special sale. It's going to be on Monday, December 10th at 11 a.m. sharp. They're going to have over 1,200 head of really good quality cows and heifers with top genetics. A lot of these cattle, most of these cattle, mostly one iron cattle. And don't forget, they're also going to have about 12 head of bulls from CL Semper over in Gooding. These are first calf, AI heifers, real good solid cows, cows of all ages. Don't forget, on this great big special special annual bread cow sale at Burley Livestock. It's going to be on Monday, December 10th at 11 a.m. For more information, call Kate Rogge at 431-0074 or Burley Livestock office at 678-9411. We're going to do a weather forecast, and I'd like to have some more of your calls right now. And the weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And they are located right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room, and the number 312-0957. Call for an appointment. 3 doctors, 3 wonderful doctors that really understand hearing health. Dr. Hunsaker, Dr. Pickup, Dr. Mitchell, all of them there working for you. Please give them a call, 312-0957. Here's Gina with the weather.
Patchy freezing fog, maybe some rain showers and snow showers by tonight. Here's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. 30% chance of rain and or snow showers as we make our way through the day. Patchy freezing morning fog. Winds are going to be picking up as well. Gusts as high as 21 miles an hour. Expecting a high of 45 tonight. More rain and or snow likely. Snow up in the higher elevations. New snow accumulations of 1 to 3 inches is possible. Expecting a low of 29 tomorrow. That snow is going to continue in the morning. Tapering off by the afternoon. Expecting a high of 40. More snow showers for Friday night with a low of 21. And by Saturday, mostly sunny skies and 35. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zebeth Ranch.
Thank you very much, Gina, and brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And for your hearing health, if you're having any diminishment with your hearing whatsoever, call them. Make an appointment at 312-0957. You know, I think that the slogan that I use on the tail end of our program every day really befits what we're talking about here this morning. The way things were are the way things ought to be. Now, that's not a retreat to the old times and the old ways and driving the older cars and not as much science and study about medicine. No, it's in reference to the way we were. You know, I cannot imagine what would have happened back years ago if there would have been like a rally of God and country in my hometown of Fort Atkinson, Wisconsin, and there would have been these punks, worthless vermin punks like Antifa, standing on the sidelines and then eventually getting carried away and jumping in and hitting, kicking, and spitting on Marines. I guarantee you, knowing the store owners and growing up in that relatively small community back in Wisconsin, the whole city would have turned out and there wouldn't have been enough feathers on some of those birds to sweep up. It's not like that today. Evil is winning because good isn't fighting back. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'd like to hear from you, so give me a call. We were talking about the millennials, 22 to 37, they took a poll. And a lot of this falls into what's happening with our border situation and a lack of respect for America. Doug and I were talking about it a little bit ago, but when you read that 41% said they've never read the Constitution or even studied it, right there, warning flags need to go up and say, whoa, wait a minute. Aren't they teaching the value of this country and what our forefathers died for? And those that are sitting in wheelchairs today have given their ultimate for as far as their life and limb? You haven't read the Constitution. And most of these pampered know-nothings of that millennial age bracket, not all of them because we have some excellent ones that live right here in this area, but most of these favored prima donnas, they thought socialism, total, complete socialism, was better than capitalism. Here they've grown up in the richest country ever in the world's history that has provided most and all for them, and these ungrateful, nose-dripping slugs said they'd favor socialism more so than capitalism. And when I read that 63% of these punks said they thought that America was an evil, racist country, about lost it right there. Your thoughts? I'm surprised more people haven't called in on this. I really am upset about how the good people in this country are being treated by the evil. Calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget our major sponsor. I'll do this while I'm waiting for your call. Our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the best of tires to get through almost anything, whether it's the slush and the mush and the ice and the snow during the winter. Oh, my goodness sakes, yes. They've got all the different tread designs, all the sizes for your car, your pickup, and your SUV. All you got to do is so simple. Just stop in, talk to them. Bingo. They help you and they serve you. Also with the best in brake service and front-end alignments and shocks and struts and batteries. Very important. Batteries. Above all, the best in service. From Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. None better. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Stop in and see them today. Caller, thank you. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. Good talking to you again.
Thank you.
I think we're looking at this at the wrong perspective. We're not going to the source. And what I mean by that is, why doesn't the President of the United States call the President of Mexico and say, you guys take care of this or we're going to do it? And what's behind this? Is your drug cartel? Is your millionaires that are, you got this thing going? And why not go to the source and take care of it like that?
I can't argue your premise because I agree with you, but I think you will also agree with me that there's one big hurdle that nobody's been able to jump over, and that is the stupidity and the laziness of the Congress, the House, and the Senate.
That's exactly right. That's one of the sources I'm talking about. You know what? If I hire Zeb Bell to do a job, and you don't do that job, then I'm going to fire your butt. Okay? Take it a little further. Congress is elected, and it's called vote. They can fire these people that are not doing this job, but you go right back to the same old source, and everything just falls apart.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Until we get leadership from both parties that are committed to being leaders and telling their little horde of congressmen and senators, okay, boys, follow me. This is for the American people. This thing ain't going to change.
No, it's not. And you can't get people out to vote. I've got grandkids that have never voted.
Oh, my.
They certainly weren't taught that way.
But, you know, in fairness, and a very dear friend of mine just texted me a message on my phone, and in fairness, high school graduation requirement here in the state of Idaho. We lead the nation in a lot of things that are education known that other states and other cities can't even hold a candle to us. It's a high school graduation requirement here in the state of Idaho to pass a citizenship test. This is something that should go on in every school in America.
Okay, I agree with you 100% what we're going to do about it.
All I can do is sit here you bring up a good point. What can we do about it? Okay, quickly, I'm going to say in regards to these Marines that were doing nothing but supporting God and country, and they were attacked by these vermin Antifa, I'm saying, hey, good's got to prevail over evil, and in that case, whoever the sergeant was that was there that day, just say to the Gyrenes, go get them. We've got to have evil know they're going to get knocked on their butt, and they're not going to prevail.
Well, the sad situation is the fact that it's going to happen more and more, and let's just see what's going to happen. But I think we're in for a rude awakening.
No, I agree with you. And, you know, sir, I respect your attitude and opinion when you call in. But honestly, I'm so frustrated on this program when I hear stories about people being hit and injured and having to have 4 staples in their head because some low-life punk didn't like God and country. I mean, this is insane.
I don't know what to say other than I'm in 100% agreement with you. Have a good day.
And, sir, thank you for your call. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. A nice gentleman right there. You know, I do get frustrated. I mean, whew, what are we going to do? And it can't be just me. I always revert back quickly to a call I had one time about, 6-7 months ago, and a guy called me and he said, well, Zeb, why don't you call so-and-so? Well, Zeb, why don't you call so-and-so? Why don't you call this representative? And I lost my cookies. I said, wait a minute. You're an American citizen. Why don't you jump in and start calling some of these people? It takes more than just one voice. I got to go take some blood pressure medicine. I'll be back in 7. Zeb at the Ranch, don't go away. Wheels, take it over, buddy. Thanks. Welcome back to hour number 2 on this Thursday, November 29th. Good morning, Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell, of course, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And, of course, some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Have some Christmas wishes real quick that we want to extend. And they are from Searles at 120 North Center Street in Oakley. Ooh, gas, grub, and goodies. Stores open at 6 o'clock in the morning till 9 p.m. at night, and they bake those specialty buns. Oh, they're so good. You'll never go hungry when you stop at Searles in Oakley. And Kelly's Bearings, 1407 East Main in Burley. Don't forget, you don't have to let your machine sit there while you're waiting for a part to come in. Kelly's Bearing Supply, they keep everything right there on hand. You'll know where you're at when you get your bearings at Kelly's. And last but not least, Dixon Oil. I have to swallow. I got a cough drop. Dixon Oil at 602 South 2nd in Rupert. Oh, my goodness sakes, yes. Daryl and the whole crew at Dixon Oil, all the gas, oil, and propane, they've been serving you for a long, long time, since 1951. Dixon Oil wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Let's see, I got one more good word that we have to get on here quickly. And that's, of course, for our friends at Minnecasia Hearts for Seniors. Oh, my goodness, yes, at 135 East 23rd Drive in Burley with Holly Rowe. Holly, I hope you're going to be at Lunch Bunch today. And the number to call her and find out more at 312-5715. They are now Medicaid and VA approved, and they'll also take private pay, and they help seniors that want to stay at home. Absolutely find out more. Minnecasia Hearts for Seniors. Number 312-5715, or go to the website, Holly at heartsforseniors.net. Here we go, over the river and through the woods to the Chamber of Commerce and the office of Sarah Seymour. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb. How are you today?
I'm in the Christmas spirit. Here, I'll show you why. There, can you hear that? Merry Christmas.
Oh, I love it.
What's going on over at the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce?
Oh, I absolutely love the holiday season, Zeb. It's such a great time to get involved in the community, and boy, do we have a lot of events going on. First of all, we're kicking off with the Chamber events coming up. On Wednesday, December 12th, we will have our last Ambassador Luncheon for 2018. I can't believe we're saying that already. We're getting so close to the end of the year. That's always on the second Wednesday at Maury's Steakhouse at noon. If you're interested in being an ambassador, come on over, and we'd love to have you. We'll also be having our Mingle All the Way, our monthly luncheon. It's going to be a little bit different this month. We're going to host it right here at our Chamber of Commerce building. We're going to have appetizers and a hot cocoa bar. It's just going to be a really fun networking time. So if you're a member and would like to come to our luncheon, we cannot wait to see you on Thursday, December 13th. We're also gearing up for our annual installation banquet, and we are already filling some of our sponsorship positions. So if you're interested in sponsoring our annual banquet, currently our title sponsor is DL Evans Bank. We'd like to thank them as well. If you're interested, give me a call right here at the Chamber. Our number is 208-679-4793, and we'll get you on the list. We're also implementing the 110% Club, so we'll have some more information once we get that rolling. Now, to get back into our member events and our community events for this time of year, there's so much support that happens in the Mini-Cassia area, and I just absolutely love it. So we're going to tell you about some things going on. Idaho Water Sports is teaming up with Jack and Mary Zarbinski to collect lightly used clothing and distribute them to the Hope House Orphanage and local families that are in need. So they are accepting clothing of all sizes. They're looking for toothbrushes, shampoo, conditioners, soaps, lightly used games, puzzles, or toys. You can drop them off at Idaho Water Sports at 2165 Overland in Burley, or you can drop them right here at the Chamber, too, and we can make sure that those items get distributed where they need to go. Up in Albion, they're having the Christmas Festival on weekends until December 29th, and this is going to be such a fun time. The Albion campus retreat is going to all be lit up with lights. You're going to have Santa Claus and fire pits and wagon rides and coffee bars, and food's going to be available up there, and they're so excited. So if you have a chance to have a free weekend here during the holiday season, go on up to Albion and check that out. Tomorrow, Friday, November 30th, they're going to have Christmas at Cadger Regional Hospital in the lobby from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. They're going to have Santa and Mrs. Claus. They're going to have a giant gingerbread house, treasure hunts. You can write letters to Santa. It'll be a great time for kids in our area. So head on over to Cadger Regional tomorrow, Friday, November 30th from 5 to 8 p.m. Stoats Equipment here in Burley is also going to be hosting a toy drive, and all of the proceeds will go to the Mini-Cassia Christmas Council. So that'll be this Saturday, December 1st, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. You'll be able to get a free picture with Santa for every unwrapped donated toy or a toy purchased in their store. They're going to have rides and gifts and milk and cookies while supplies last. And they're having a special 10% off of all John Deere toys and apparel that day as well. So head on over to Stoats Equipment in Burley. Some more things we've got coming up. We have a Leadercast 2018 Nourishing Greatness, and that's going to be a lunch and networking event with some speakers. It'll be hosted at CSI's Mini-Cassia campus at 1600 Park Avenue. This is also tomorrow, Friday, November 30th. So there's still some time to get some tickets. If you need some more information about that, just call us here at the office, and we can get you all of the information you need. Also coming up on Saturday, December 1st, we have a movie night at Idaho Water Sports that'll be benefiting the Pomerelle Ski Patrol. So this is one of their fundraisers that they do because Pomerelle is finally opened tentatively on weekends and until we get some more snow. But they're having that on December 1st, 7 p.m., free admission. They are having raffles and door prizes, again, to help benefit the Pomerelle Ski Patrol. And Ace Hardware is also having a Christmas party Saturday, December 1st from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at both of their Rupert and Burley locations. So go on over and help make spirits bright at Ace Hardware. Also for the holiday season, we still have Chamber Cash available in our office. It's accepted at over 30 locations in the Mini-Cassia area, helping keep your local dollars local. It's a great way, instead of going out and buying gift cards to get them out of town, we want to keep them right here. So we have Chamber Cash here in our office. We also have some great Christmas gifts, Idaho-based in our visitor center here. And we cannot forget this coming Monday, December 3rd, Santa's going to come to town in the Bama Christmas Light Parade. It's going to be on Overland and Burley. Starts at 6 p.m., so we hope to see you there. If you have any questions, you can call Sonia at 670-2408 or get in touch with us right here at the Chamber, and we will get you all the information that you need.
Are you done?
I think I am.
You know, I'm sitting here in total amazement. I mean, do you have to go, to the doctor every week and get kind of a lip salve or something to prevent the windburn that goes with your lips and fast talking?
Just good old chapstick and a big plug of water.
Well, I am impressed. If they ever have an Olympic event for nonstop talking, you have got the gold medal. Let me tell you.
I don't know if that's a good thing.
It's a compliment. You're excellent at what you do. Okay, I'm opening myself up right now because here we go. Every week we take a little time, and sometimes it's way too much time, for one of Sarah's groaners.
All right. Well, it's getting cold, and I got to thinking, Zeb, what vegetable was forbidden on the ships of Arctic explorers?
What vegetable was forbidden?
Forbidden.
On the ship of Arctic explorers?
Yes, sir.
I don't have a clue.
Leeks. They didn't want leeks on the ship.
Well, Sarah, it's been real pleasant talking to you. I got to tell you, though, I love having you on the air. You're a great representative of the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce, and Merry Christmas.
Oh, thank you. you so much, Seb. Merry Christmas.
All right, take care. I love that segment. Oh, my, let's pay some bills here right now and remind everybody about our dear, dear friends at Hanson Mortuary. And by the way, I've got a note here. I want to hit it again. That tomorrow there's going to be a free senior movie event, and it's going to be tomorrow, November 30th at 1 p.m. at Century Cinema 5, and the movie is a good one. It's a funny one. Instant Family. I've heard about this movie, and it's a lot of fun. All adults 55 and older can be there at the Century Cinema 5 tomorrow, and this is sponsored by our friends at Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. Darn cough drop. I got to swallow for a minute. And, of course, the number to call, 436-5636. Joel Heward and his family and his staff, they all wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. And don't forget about that movie tomorrow, sponsored by Hanson Mortuary at Century Cinema 5. Oh, my. In just a moment, we're going to have our friends on with the Cassia Regional Hospital. Stand by for that. But quickly, I want to tell you about our friends at Let's Ride. Oh, yeah, where the fun is sold. Let me tell you, all the snowmobiles are on the showroom floor. I mean, all the snowmobiles. And, of course, they're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 4. And along with that, they've got snowplows. I bought one a couple of years ago for my four-wheeler. And they're getting ready for snow. You should, too. Stop in today and see our good friends at 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Let's Ride, where the fun is sold. Right now, I always look forward to this. Really, really nice people serving you at your Cassia Regional Hospital. Wheels, if you would, please.
People caring about you and your health care in the most professional and progressive ways. That's Cassia Regional Hospital, located at 1501 Highland Avenue in Burley. In a moment, we'll introduce you to just one of the many dedicated medical experts serving you at Cassia Regional Hospital. Today's program, right after this. Cassia Regional Hospital provides you and your family excellent health care answers and services. They're right here, close to home. That's right. Cassia Regional Hospital offers the latest technological advances in medicine, like their new oncology programs and telehealth, which uses electronic information and telecommunications to promote long-distance patient and clinical health care. Your friends, your neighbors. Cassia Regional Hospital, 1501 Highland Avenue in Burley. Quality care close to home. Right now on Cassia Regional Hospital, we meet more of the great people that work there and serve you right here in southern Idaho. And we're talking to the new man in town, a brand new doctor, general surgeon at Cassia Regional Hospital, Dr. Dustin Porter. Good morning, Doc. How are you doing?
Good morning. How are you?
I am great. Now, tell us a little bit about you. Give us a thumbnail sketch of who you are and where you're from.
Sure. I was born and raised in Salt Lake City. Lived there for the first 24 years of my life. Got married there. Then decided I wanted to do this crazy adventure in medicine. And so at that point, was accepted to medical school in Wisconsin, actually. So headed out to the Midwest, Milwaukee, at the Medical College of Wisconsin. Spent 4 years there. At that point, you kind of had to decide to go into general surgery. So I decided that about my third year of medical school. And really what I was deciding between was kind of a surgical specialty versus a medicine. And I just found more enjoyment from the surgical side of things. We also had our first child in medical school during my fourth year. He's now 6 today. So after graduating from medical school in Milwaukee, we headed down to Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky, for residency. And what that consists of is a 5-year general surgery program. Over 5 years, you try and learn everything that you can, get as much experience as possible. And I trained at a great program. So I feel like I got some great training. That leads me up to here.
I am impressed, and I think the thing that really is something you ought to elaborate on is the education, the knowledge, the changing conditions in your profession as far as what you thought was appropriate maybe 2 years ago, and now it's old news and things have changed. Give us a little thought about that.
Absolutely. So basically, medicine in general, not just surgery, but medicine in general is changing at a rapid pace. They say the average person can't keep up with their own specialty with the amount of papers that come out. So over my 5 years of residency, at least, multiple treatments for diseases and broad ranges of diseases have changed, including things like melanoma. Before was primarily a surgical disease just 5 years ago, whereas now we do surgery, plus there are other treatments that limit the amount of surgery that we need to do. And that's due to medication that was introduced that really helps you fight this disease. There are other different surgical areas that this is also changing pretty rapidly, mostly with the advent of minimally invasive surgery and robotic-type surgery. And laparoscopic surgery, the types of surgery that we can do nowadays laparoscopically is increasing by the year.
So everything that is doing or being done today could change tomorrow with new innovative ideas in the world of medicine. How in the world do you keep up with everything?
Well, you do your best, and I don't want to say it's a daily change, but year by year, and what you do once you get out of residency is a great time to learn because you're in an environment where you're around people who are actually at the forefront of these diseases and studying them. So you learn straight from the horse's mouth, per se. But as you get out of residency, you kind of continue your medical education, and every year you're required a certain amount of hours to do this kind of continued medical education. And you go to different conferences throughout the country, and that's kind of what I plan on doing, just to stay up to date. And really what's presented at these conferences is the most leading edge, most widely accepted, because not all advancements should necessarily be accepted right away. They need to be thoroughly tested before they go mainstream and patients are getting these treatments every day.
Let me ask you this, Dr. Porter. Is being a general surgeon a more comprehensive study than being a specialized surgeon in a certain field?
So, yeah, generally what you do is you do your residency in general surgery, and a lot of times you can go off into certain subspecialties where you kind of learn the nuts and bolts of a specific specialty, and people with really complex narrow problems can go to you. The job of a general surgeon, as I see it, is kind of perfectly established in this area where you see a lot of different surgical diseases that you can treat. General surgery falls within the scope of appendectomies, gallbladder surgery, hernia operations, whereas the more really specialized stuff, complex vascular disease, will go to these people who have spent extra years learning the ins and outs of that particular disease.
I would imagine that in this age of the internet and computers, that the benefits to medical science with the usage of those materials is just absolutely unbelievable. If you have questions or need to see something, need to study something, it's there available to you.
Absolutely. And we always heard the war stories of the older surgeons back in the day when they had to look everything up, whereas basically everything that we need is at the touch of at our fingertips. What we do is try and stay up to date, as we've talked before, but as we talked about, things change pretty rapidly. So you always want to check and see that your treatments are still, first-line therapies, and that's pretty easy with the medical advances that we have today and the different browsers and things on the internet that we can search.
Dr. Porter, you're relatively new to the area. What would you like to tell people about you being a doctor, and why they should come see you at Cassia Regional?
Well, I mean, just to start, new to the area, yeah. We're from Salt Lake, so it's not too far away. My mom grew up in a little more rural area of Utah that actually reminds me quite a bit of this area. But yeah, we're excited to be here. My family, I have a wife and 3 children who have really warmed up to the area quickly. I think one thing that maybe I bring to the table is that I've kind of been trained in an era where, you know, the more minimally invasive techniques that are being used, and I think that using that can, a lot of times, reduce scarring and reduce the overall burden of the surgical disease. A lot of times after large operations that we do with big incisions, there can be a lot of scar tissue following this, and I think with the more minimally invasive techniques, it limits that. Now, that's not to say that everyone can get minimally invasive surgeries. Obviously, open surgery is still the gold standard. So I want to make that clear. But if it's possible, a lot of times what we'll try and do nowadays is do the little incisions versus the big incisions.
Proving once again that Cassia Regional Hospital has the best of care for you and your family. A brand new doctor in this area, General Surgeon Dr. Dustin Porter at Cassia Regional. Thank you, Dr. Porter, and God bless.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
You too. Tune in every Thursday at 9:18 right here on Zeb at the Ranch for more about the people and the healthcare services at your Cassia Regional Hospital, 1501 Highland Avenue in Burley. Quality care close to home.
Thank you very much. Wonderful people on the program from Cassia Regional Hospital. Don't forget Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Hello, folks. How are you? And they wish you a very Merry Christmas. All your life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and more for you, your family, and your business. And they are dedicated and very responsive to your needs. Call for an appointment today at 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24. Highway 24, as I choked to death on this cough drop, in Rupert. Really, really good people. Caller, real quick, I've only got a minute and a half here before I have to go to the next segment. Fast. Go ahead, please.
Okay, I just wanted to say I was listening to your program, and I think that you were talking about, the conservatives not fighting back. I kind of have a couple ideas on that number one, we were all raised to respect authority and to respect the offices and everything. And I think some of us have a hard time trying to not be, nice to the other people because of the way they were raised. But the other thing is, who is keeping this country going right now? It's not the liberals, Antifa, everybody. It's the conservatives. And we can't up and afford to get big marches and everything and go to Washington and everything, because if we did, the country would have nothing. You got these other liberals, these young guys and everything that are getting paid off. They're living on welfare. You got George Soros or everybody else paying them off. And so who keeps the country going?
You know something? I wished I had more time. Honestly, I really appreciate your phone call and your thought and your insight on what's going on. I would ask you call me next Monday at our open forum hour from 8 to 9. I'd like to visit with you more on this. Thank you so much. And Merry Christmas to you. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Nice man. And I like his thinking. By the way, too, don't forget, Cassia Regional's Christmas party is going to be tomorrow from 5 to 8 p.m. in the front lobby. They're going to have that great big giant gingerbread house there. It's going to be 8 feet wide and 5 feet tall. And Santa and Mrs. Claus are going to be there. They're going to have prizes given away. Oh, my goodness, don't miss it. Cassia Regional's Christmas party tomorrow from 5 to 8 p.m. in the front lobby of Cassia Regional Hospital. Don't forget this Saturday there's going to be another big sale managed by Bennett Boys Auction Service. It's going to be the Vega auction, 11 o'clock on Saturday morning, December 1st. Don't miss it. I'll give you the directions on how to get there. It's over in the Jerome area at 326 West, 100 North. From the center of Jerome, go west 3 miles, then north a mile, then west a half a mile. Look for the signs, park in the field. They're going to have trucks and Jeeps and trailers and everything sold as is where it is. And, of course, along with that, they're going to have a lot of shop equipment and various tools and many, many miscellaneous items. All of this and more at the Vega auction managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service this Saturday at 11 o'clock, December 1st, over in the Jerome area. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, they sell them all. Right now, I get a chance. Last week was Thanksgiving, and we didn't have an opportunity to visit with Rita. We weren't on the air. Here now, one of my favorite guests, Rita Ramsey. Merry Christmas. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good.
Wow. I don't even know where to start. First of all, let me ask you this. Did you have, I'm sure, with the Ramsey clan, a huge Thanksgiving?
Well, we actually had both of our daughters and their husbands and kids, so there weren't that many of us. There's just 13. But for my small house, that's a pretty good crew, and we just had a really good Thanksgiving visit and food and everything.
Well, good for you. Now, let's go to the situation on the border. I know you have your thoughts. I know I've been giving my thoughts on this mess ever since it started to come into fruition. What about this border problem? What are we going to do?
Well, I think the only thing that we can do is, and you've probably heard it, voiced through different opinions of people. I don't know who's voicing it the loudest, but there are a lot of people saying, if Trump doesn't do something, he's not going to be able to win re-election if he does decide to run again, and da-da-da-da. But I think what we need to do is we as American citizens, and especially as Trump supporters or people who want to have the president take notice of what we're doing, is that we need to write him a letter and say, you know what, Mr. President, we need this illegal immigration thing taken care of, and taken care of now. We need you to make sure that E-Verify is done. We need you to close off any free stuff for the immigrants that come in here, and make sure that they cannot get access to voting for 10 years. That's a new immigrant, no matter what. And that will stop a ton of the immigrants coming in here. But we need to remind President Trump that the crowds were not chanting, "We want prison reform." That's what he's working on right now.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you.
Chanting, "Build the wall."
Right.
And he needs to be reminded of that. And if enough people will take out a pen and paper and send a letter, not just an email, but a letter to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, and remind him of that. And then you could put a little asterisk at the bottom that says, "President Trump, we love you and we're praying for you. Please help us keep America great." And I think we'll get some response.
I agree with everything you said, but then I'd add a caveat onto it. I am extremely, and I'm going to really clean up my verbiage here on this, extremely down on our senators and our congressmen that have avoided this issue, kicked it like a can down the road for years, and again, the finger pointing goes to President Trump, when in essence it should be at both sides of the aisle, Republican and Democratic, senator and congressman, for doing a worthless job.
No, you're absolutely right. And just like Paul Ryan, he's just sitting back kind of going, well, I'm waiting my time out because then I can become a lobbyist and I can make several $1 million a year. And darn good and well, and I heard this expressed Pat Goodell on early morning radio this morning, and he said, "You know darn good and well that Paul Ryan's received millions of dollars from the Koch brothers just to leave immigration alone, and he's just waiting to to finish his term out this year so that he can be one of the spokesmen for," he said, the Koch brothers, but he'll be a lobbyist for somebody. He's going to do well. The thing of it is, the congressmen and the senators, not all, but the majority of them, do not want to deal with immigration because they have so many donors pumping money into their troughs that say, let the immigration alone. Just leave it alone. We need this labor. We need this and that and the other. The big problem is that they will not look at it as, okay, if we have illegal immigration and we just open our borders to the world, first of all, we're going to go broke because we can't afford all the free stuff that we give them. And second of all, they don't want to integrate and assimilate into our society, so they start building their own little cultures. And multiculturalism does not work. Look at Europe. It's a mess. It's going to be worse. They're on the verge of collapse in many of their areas because of the multiculturalism. And we can't have that. We've got to have everybody united and doing stuff what they can to make America great. And it's really, really sad to think that we can't just say, you know what, if you need workers, sign up, get your workers, take care of them, send them back home when they're done with the season or whatever, but at least we know who they are. We're not giving them a ton of welfare. They're not working, under the table, so they're making all kinds of money, not spending it here, not paying any taxes on it. It just needs to be done legally, and we've got those laws already in place.
Yeah, we've already had those programs. We've already had those programs, the H-2A, H-2B programs, etc. And then they decided not to fund them again. The Congress, and boy, now you've hit my hot button. They have had the opportunity to extend and create a non-problem. In other words, get rid of the problem by exercising what's already on the books, and they refuse to be smart enough to understand this.
Well, it is, and that's the part that just really bothers me the most, is this is all about money in their pockets. And may I emphasize again, and I don't need anybody to call in and tell me that this is wrong or anything else, the only way we start getting some of this stuff cleaned up is by bypassing the Congress and the Senate, and we have an Article 5 convention where the states decide which laws they want to enforce, and you don't ask Congress to vote on them or anything else because the states are the ones who decide it. And these people who keep saying, oh, they're going to have you collapse the Constitution and da-da-da-da-da, I'd like to hear what their solving the problem is, because they never give a solve. They just say you can't do it. But that's what the Article 5 was set up for by our founding fathers, is when Congress and Senate get out of control, and you have to have the states band together and say, this is what we want to do.
I almost crawled inside the television set last night and strangled a CNN reporter that was absolutely pointing the finger, of blame on President Trump for the sickness and the unsanitary conditions on the border. I mean, everything is always Trump's fault. Everything is this administration's fault. Everything is a condemnation or a damnation against this president and those of us that are conservatives. And I, for one, have had enough.
Well, you notice that they never give Obama the blame, and the same thing happened with him. We remember that. Same thing. There was a caravan coming through. Yep, we'll just house them and put them in these little cages and hold them and this and that and the other, and everything was fine because Obama was doing it. But because Trump's put a stop to it and said, wait a minute, we're not coming through, it's going to be organized, and some of those same things are in place, all of a sudden it's a bad deal because Trump's doing it. But, Obama's really good at taking credit for everything. I noticed yesterday he was yelling and shouting, hey, did you forget that I'm the one who's responsible for all of this good stuff that's going on? And he starts mentioning, oil production and this and that and the other, and it's like, you are so full of yourself, just get off that. step.
I just can't use enough strong language without resorting to something that would be off color when I talk about Barack Obama, his wife, his administration. I find them to be hangers-on or leeches trying to change what happened in history so that they look and sound better. I'm telling you, this mess on the border with the sickness, the tuberculosis, the chickenpox, the hepatitis, the HIV/AIDS, the uncountable lice infections, everything is absolutely insidious. I didn't invite them to go all the way from Guatemala up to the border of Mexico. I didn't cause it. Rita didn't cause it. President Trump certainly didn't cause it, but he did warn about it a month ago that it was coming. And all these liberal, absolutely worthless news media reporters, they sloughed it off, and now they're stuck.
Well, and the thing that's sad about it is there are groups from here who went down there and organized every bit of it, footed the bill for it. You know, and so do I, that there's no way on God's green earth that many people could come for over 1,000 miles in just a few weeks.
Amen.
Walking.
Amen.
And every town they stopped in, they fed them, they took care of them, and after the cameras weren't watching, they put them on buses and started busing them.
And you can't blame, nobody can blame the residents of Tijuana. There's almost 80% of the residents that have been polled down there and queried about this. They said, wait a minute, we're fed up with this. We don't want this turning into a cesspool. The sewers are backing up. They are literally dumping porta potties on the street to make, I hate to sound gross, but make room for more. And I don't blame the citizens of Tijuana for being up in arms.
Well, all I can say is I hope a lot more of them get mad, because that's the only way that they'll be able to dissipate that crowd and get them out of there.
Well, Rita, it's something that I said earlier, and you and I both talked about this for weeks in advance of this happening, that we can't let them in. We can't just say, like a matador, ole, and let them go on by. We can't do that. Once we let them in, any number of them, we're done forever, because our Constitution and our laws mean nothing.
Well, they do, and how much more can we afford? You know, we're already at a almost 50-50. In fact, I think it's a little above 50 that are on the dole,
yep.
And those under or is a little less that are funding it. If we keep bringing these in, and if we let them come in, and all we're doing is inviting them for free health care, free everything, that just opens the door to the world saying, hey, they don't really care, we just got to get there. And they will come in here, and pretty soon it will be totally broken, and we will have nothing. And, you know, we don't have the kind of access to seeing what's happening like they do down in southern Arizona and California and Texas on those ranches where there's a lot of miles in between, you know, where people live. Mm-hmm. But their properties, their homes, a lot of the things are being totally trashed, and they've got bad people that are coming and going through their properties and leaving sometimes bodies, sometimes just trash, sometimes drugs, all kinds of things. Sometimes they're finding stuff that terrorists have left. And we can't continue to let that happen. We just can't.
You know, I want to switch gears somewhat and talk to you about Cindy Hyde-Smith in Mississippi. And this story, I followed it very closely about her election to the Senate. We'll do that right after we take a quick call. Caller, real fast. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
You know, Zeb and Rita, one thing I would do, I would contribute $100 if they would take 100 of those and put them on a plane and deport them. And I bet you everybody, most of the people in America would agree with me, and they'd be glad to just get them get them off the planet.
Well, not off the planet, but back to their own home country. And the others that are on their way en masse in caravans, Keith, they've got to be stopped. I mean, they absolutely have to be stopped. We cannot see this problem be exacerbated by adding more thousands to the already filthy conditions.
Well, the people there in Mexico, in Tijuana, they should know that. And don't they have any influence on their government?
It doesn't look like it.
From coming any further.
I agree with you. And thank you for your call. Thank you very much. Rita, what are your thoughts on this? Because there's more coming. They estimate that in a matter of a few days, we could see numbers of over 10,000 there. And I heard something this morning that just blew me away. They didn't plan for this. There's only 35 porta potties serving, they estimated, about 4,000 people. This is so absolutely untenable. I don't know what they're going to do.
Well, that's the part that's sad about it, is if our Congress and Senate would just enforce the laws, let the states enforce the laws on immigration, we wouldn't have that issue. And the very first thing would be the E-Verify, because that's the drawing card for a lot of people to come here. Well, I can get work. I don't have to show who I am. I don't have to prove that I'm clean or that I haven't broken the law in the country I'm coming from. If they would make them enforce E-Verify and close off any free stuff, and then say, you know what, you can't vote for 10 years after you enter the country as an immigrant, whether you're legal or whatever.
I agree.
You cannot be a voter.
I agree.
That would stop everything just so quick.
I agree.
We'd have everything under control. And I don't see why it needs to be such a big deal. But those people in Washington are acting like, well, this is just something we can't really solve. Oh, my gosh, I don't know what we're going to do. And they act like they're wringing their hands. But when you look at the one hand, they're holding out for hand me the donations, and for these big companies that say, you know what, we need the cheap labor. And they don't really care what's going on except just to punch money into their pocket.
There you go. You and I, we're on the same page here. I've got to do a weather forecast, and I want to go back to that Cindy Hyde-Smith story right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, our weather this hour brought to you by the professionals at Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane & Company, providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. And they remind you, getting real close to the end of the year, and they're asking you for tax records for your business already. Better check everything out and be ready for all the information, and contact Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane & Company. The best of tax return preparation, tax planning, bookkeeping services, retirement planning, all of this and more, with offices in Burley and Rupert. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane & Company. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Patchy freezing fog, maybe some rain showers and snow showers by tonight. Here's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. 30% chance of rain and or snow showers as we make our way through the day. Patchy, freezing morning fog. Winds are going to be picking up as well. Gusts as high as 21 miles an hour. Expecting a high of 45 tonight. More rain and or snow likely. Snow up in the higher elevations. New snow accumulations of 1 to 3 inches is possible. Expecting a low of 29 tomorrow. That snow is going to continue in the morning. Tapering off by the afternoon. Expecting a high of 40. More snow showers for Friday night with a low of 21, and by Saturday, mostly sunny skies and 35. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zebeth Ranch.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to everybody by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane & Company. As I said, accounting services that can help you, your family, and your business. Please get a hold of them today with offices in Burley and Rupert. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane & Company. Rita, Cindy Hyde-Smith won the Senate seat for the state of Mississippi. And already, and I know you're aware of this because in very respectful terminology, you're a news junkie like I am, but already the left are coming out and they're calling her a white nationalist as if that were a bad terminology. And they have just absolutely done all they can to denigrate her. And I'm going to just say this again. I am a white Caucasian male. I am a nationalist that I believe my country, America, is the greatest country in the world, and I pledge allegiance to the republic for which it stands. I guess if anybody's at fault right now, according to the dim left that hasn't got the IQ of a hockey puck, I am a white nationalist. They can come after me, too. How do you feel?
Well, the difference between you and her is she just won over a Democrat, and so they're mad, and they're thinking, well, whatever we can do, we'll just muddy up her name and her situation to where she can't really make any progress or get anywhere. We'll make sure she's just, trashed to the nth degree like they always do. You never hear them talking about Schumer or some of the, Democrats that way that win. It's kind of like, no, let's just go after the the Republicans or the conservatives because we don't like them, and the Republicans never go back and say bad stuff about everybody else, but boy, those Democrats, they are absolutely horrible. In fact, being that you brought that up, I was going to mention that I was reading a survey and I watched a little short take on it where there was a guy doing a survey. And what his survey was is that he went to New York, and so on the street he asked a bunch of liberals, "Could you be friends with conservatives?" And everyone that he interviewed said, "Well, because we're around a lot of liberal people here, we just couldn't be friends with conservatives. We can't do it. They're just off the rails with what we believe and everything." And so then he thought, well, I'm going to go to some of the most far-right people that I can find and most conservative. So he goes up to BYU, Idaho, and takes a poll and asks students up there if they can be friends with liberals. And every one of the ones that he asked said, oh, of course they can. We might have a difference in agreement, but we can be friends and get along.
There you go.
That just shows you the mentality between Democrats and conservatives and the way that we believe, and that is like, you know what, we want to be decent people, and they don't.
But, I wish we had more time for this next part of the segment, but I want to get your response. You probably heard about that poll that was taken of millennials ages 22 to 37. 46% of them said that Barack Obama was a bigger impact and a better impact on America than George Washington. 63% thought that America was an evil, racist country, and 41% of these young people have never even read or studied the Constitution. Oh, we've got problems.
And that's the whole thing. A lot of people are spouting a lot of stuff, and they don't know squat about it. People who learn about the founding of our country, what the founders went through to get things going and get things done. You read about the Revolutionary War and what some of those people went through, and many of those who just said, you know what, I'll go out there and do it. And it wasn't 100% of people that were in favor of it, but the ones who did it did the hard stuff and got us what we needed, and the Constitution, a number of years later and everything like that. Those people that are spouting, we like this and that and the other, but we don't like, George Washington, he's a white, just all of the rhetoric. They don't know squat about the founding. If they did, they would have reverence for it, and they would go, man, we need to protect this. But they were not taught that. They aren't taught that in school. Nobody says, hey, you're going to have a semester of hard learning on the Constitution and the founding of America.
I think that Idaho is one of the very few states that has a requirement to learn about citizenship and that type of thing before they graduate. I think it should be mandatory in every school, don't you?
Well, it should. And you know what? It needs to start right in first grade, telling the real basic stories about, the Pilgrims, and then the Revolutionary War, and then the founders, and, you kind of go from there. And then as they grow up, they start learning more details, and you start, hearing about some of the more fine-tuned things. I went for years and years, and until I was an adult, probably 10 years ago, didn't really realize, because nobody had brought it up, that there were special forces and spies and everything else that Washington had trying to get things going so that he could, win.
Right.
Freedom and win the war that he was
Let me interrupt you. Let me interrupt you right there because pardon me for my rudeness, but the thing is, how can these dumb kids, which they are, dumb kids, how can they say Barack Obama had a bigger impact on the betterment of America than George Washington?
Well, they were in that same group that thought that Barack Obama ought to have the Peace Prize 2 weeks after he was inaugurated.
I've got a small little, what would you call that, stand on my desk right here, and it shows George Washington kneeling beside his horse in the snow, and it's called The Prayer at Valley Forge. Our forefathers, they gave up everything. They gave up their family life, They gave up their community life, and they put their lives on the line as they fought for the birth of this country. And to have some stupid millennials, ages 22 to 37, put Barack Obama against the father of this country, it just shows how stupid and absolutely ill-bent our education system is.
Well, absolutely. And, I asked the question around my Thanksgiving table last week, and everybody was kind of looking to everybody else saying, well, what's the answer to this? And the question is what president declared and went to Congress for Thanksgiving to be made a national holiday? And the answer is George Washington.
That's right.
Did it.
That's right.
And in that proclamation that he presented, it said, we need to set aside one day a year where we give thanks to our Maker for all the blessings that we've received, and it kind of goes on with a number of things, the freedoms and everything else.
Absolutely.
George Washington was a God-fearing man. He turned to God. He depended on God to help him make the decisions that needed to be made to win freedom for this country.
I am way over. Holy smokes, the clock just reached out and slapped me on the nose. I've got to run. Rita Ramsey, God bless you, and see you next Thursday.
Okay, goodbye.
Thank you. Wonderful lady right there, Rita Ramsey. And right now it's time, if you're hungry about this time of the morning and starving to death, I know some great places to go, including the AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley. Oh, the pumpkin shakes, black raspberry shakes, red raspberry shakes, along with the famous Farmer Brown burger and maybe an order of fries with special sauce. Oh, my, look out, I'm hungry, and I am starving to death. At the AC Drive-In, you'll take care of that hunger at 601 East Main in Burley. How about Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley? Oh, the pumpkin empanadas and the breakfast burritos and the new pork burritos with beans, pork, rice, sour cream, and cheese. Oh, delicious. All of this and more. Great menu choices at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Well, let's move on over to Burgers Etc. Two locations to serve you. 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. They've got a different soup every day with the bread bowls, and they've got huckleberry shakes, along with all the eggnog shakes and delicious burgers at Burgers Etc. in Rupert and Burley. And last but not least, how about Steve-O's? 290 South, 600 west of Heyburn. Food made the way you love it. Delicious buffalo burgers. A new spud called the Cheesy Broccoli Spud. And don't forget, they've got all the cupcakes. Delicious different flavors every week at Steve-O's, along with a great big long menu of delicious food. Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 west of Heyburn. And those are just a couple of great places to go when you're hungry and starving to death. Right now, we're going to send it over to Wheels. We'll be back after the CBS News. Don't go away. Good morning and welcome back. Hour number 3 on a Thursday, November 29th. Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley. Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the best of tires for your wintertime driving. Don't forget to stop in and see them today. And also some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Excuse me, in a couple of minutes, we're going to have our Cache County School Days for today. But before we do that, wishing you a very Merry Christmas. Of course, the doctors and staff at Burley Veterinary Hospital. Wonderful people serving you, your pets, and your livestock at 2869 Overland in Burley. Number to call, number to remember, and write down, 678-5509. Believe me, they take care of all of your animals, and these are really nice, knowledgeable people serving you and wishing you a Merry Christmas at Burley Veterinary Hospital in Burley, 2869 Overland. Let's see. We've got a sale coming up this Saturday that I want to mention real quick, and that's, of course, the Vega auction. And it's going to be at 11 o'clock on Saturday morning, this coming Saturday, December 1st, and it's over in the Jerome area at 326 West, 100 North. From the center of Jerome, go west 3 miles, then north a mile, then west a half a mile. You'll park in the field, look for the signs, and by golly, they're going to have trucks and Jeeps and trailers, and everything sold as is where it is. A lot of shop equipment and tools, along with many, many miscellaneous items, all of this and more at the Vega auction coming up at 11 o'clock this Saturday morning, December 1st, over in the Jerome area. Look for the signs, and the sale managed by our friends at the Bennett Boys Auction Service. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, yes sirree, Bobby, they sell them all. Right now it's time for Cassia County School Days. And we're very appreciative of our sponsor that has been on the program since the get-go of this show, and that's A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. And, of course, don't forget, always new clothes arriving every day, newborn to size 16, and very reasonably priced and ready for your family. Don't forget, too, they've got all the Cherokee scrubs and the shoes, and also all the games and the toys and the puzzles, the baby furniture, everything at A Child's World. 1308 Overland in Burley, now bringing you Cassia County School Days. And today, we're going to have the fiscal manager of Cassia County Schools on the program talking about the lottery funds, how they work, how they're distributed. Good morning, Chris James. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. Any better than I couldn't stand it.
Well, it's nice to have you on the program, and I guess this is really a program that's long overdue, because I, too, have had many, many questions about how lottery funds work to help support our education in the state of Idaho, and maybe you could break it all down for us. So go ahead, you have the floor.
Well, I'll do my best. This is a great time of the year for the holidays, but it's also the time of year we file all of our state reports. And so our audit is completed, and then also we do a school building maintenance report. We report to the state what we spent our maintenance funds on. And part of those maintenance funds is the lottery funds that we receive. So they have a formula that they calculate how much lottery funds we get. And it's kind of a confusing formula, but they take your student-occupied square footage, and they times it by an $81.45 replacement cost, and then they times that by 2%, and that's what they figure you have to spend on maintenance every year. And a portion of that comes from lottery funds. So they estimated that based on our student square footage, the Cassia School District would have to spend $1,619,000 on school maintenance. And then they give us $471,000 towards that million that we're required to spend, and $330,000 of that comes from the lottery funds.
Wow. You know, Chris, pardon my interruption, but I've got to ask you, you're a man of numbers, much more so than I ever wanted to be. How in the world, or who in the world, developed that schematic to come up with the square footage, etc.? Who did this?
Yeah, it was before my time, and I'm not completely sure, but I think the state at one point got into a little bit of hot water because they have a mandate to provide a uniform public education system, and they do fund the operation of schools, but they don't fund school facilities. And so you see a wide discrepancy of school facilities across the state, and so they came up with this formula to try to satisfy the complaint or whatever it was against them that they were contributing towards school maintenance. And so the lottery funds that we get specifically for school maintenance are, about 1% of our budget. They make up about 25% of our maintenance budget. And it is a great help. And then the other way that lottery funds help us is through a program the state has that the Bond Levy Equalization Fund.
Mm-hmm.
So for a school district like Cassia County that passes a construction bond for facilities, you can be eligible for funds from this bond levy equalization fund to help offset the interest of the bond. So, for example, we have an annual bond payment on our construction bond, and we get about $400,000 from the state to help cover a good portion of the interest that we pay on that bond payment. So it's a great benefit for the local people because a lot of it's coming from the lottery funds, not from their tax funds, and it essentially makes the construction bonds close to interest-free.
Let me ask you this, Chris, and I'm certainly not trying to put you on the spot, but you're on the program, so I've got to ask the questions. I was in favor of Prop 1, and I wanted to see the horse racing issue go through because it wasn't just horse racing. It's ridiculous to think it was. It was also for helping supplementation of the entire horse industry, which is one of the largest ag industries in the United States. And they had said, and I talked to many of them, a percentage was going to go back to Idaho schools. Well, that money was stuffed out when the voters didn't pass Prop 1. How much would that money have helped?
You know, I don't know that I have the answer for that. The lottery funds do help. I mean, they're less than 2% of our overall budget. So to think that it's a major portion of our budget is a little misleading. But it is certainly funds that help with our school maintenance and our facilities. I was surprised that Prop 1 didn't pass, to be honest. I thought there would be a lot of support for that, and it kind of surprised me. I don't know what the actual annual dollar benefit to our district would have been if it had passed.
Well, going from there, I guess another question I've had is we talk about the Idaho Lottery and how it supports various funding for our schools. Are we, the state of Idaho, among few states that have a lottery, or do most states have lotteries that contribute to public education?
That's a very good question. I'm not familiar with all 50 states, but I do know that in many other states, the lottery funds do go into public education, as well as in Idaho, a lot of other states, tobacco taxes come back to the schools. So we get some, it's called Safe and Drug-Free Schools money, and I believe that comes from tobacco taxes.
Now, is this figured up in a lump sum, or is it given to you as a monthly check to the various schools and school districts? How is the money employed into your books from the state?
So the state does give it to us as a lump sum payment. We got $330,000 this year from the lottery, and it usually comes in the fall. And it is earmarked or line items for maintenance expenditures, and you can only spend it on maintenance expenditures of student-occupied buildings. So that's everything within the four walls of a school. You can't spend it on playgrounds, parking lots, landscaping, or any district buildings like a bus garage or a maintenance facility.
Let me ask you this, Chris. I'm sure you have a staff that works with you, but your job, it just doesn't end like on a Friday afternoon and then next Monday you come back to work and say, well, gee, I don't know what we're going to do. It sounds to me like you stay pretty busy all the time.
Yeah, it's a busy job. Certainly we all have busy jobs, but yeah, it's year-round. I mean, we do payroll. We pay bills every month. At any given time, we're working on 3 budgets. I mean, we're closing out the prior year, we're operating in the current year, and we're looking forward to the next year. So we've got to keep our thumb on 3 different budget cycles at most times.
To get quality people like you, I mean, your job as a fiscal manager, I mean, you just don't go out and pick them off a tree someplace. You've really got to know what you're doing.
I think so. I was fortunate that I was able to come from a finance background and then also train with the previous fiscal manager for a number of months before she retired, so that was helpful to me. And you're right. There isn't a college degree necessarily that's on school finance, and each state has a different funding formula, so even if you were experienced in another state, you still have a bit of a learning curve coming to Idaho. So there's a limited number of people that are trained in this profession.
Chris, what is I know I'm going to ask you to look into a crystal ball right now, but here we are coming to a close of 2018, going into 19 and then 20. What are the financial chapters of the book saying about education in the state of Idaho and specifically right there in Cassia County?
It's been good. Our legislature, our governor has been very supportive of education. They've increased funding coming out of the recession. They restored all funding and have given some increases. So that's been good. It's given a positive attitude. You don't see teachers and staff picketing and protesting in Idaho like you do in other states because the legislature's been supportive of education.
Chris, you bring up a point which is maybe out of your bailiwick, but I want you to comment anyway. I've been very, very upset about the negative advertising about Idaho education, where some groups and money have put forth commercials that show our students being dropped off a school bus out into a desert wasteland. In other words, meaning that our kids can't compete with other students in other areas. I find that really offensive because I think that we have really good education opportunities here in the state of Idaho. How would you respond to that?
100% support what you're saying. I'm a product of Idaho Public Schools, as many of your listeners are, and I think that they provide a great education and allow students to go on and do a lot of different things. The criticism comes from some national groups that study education, and they base their findings on some metrics that may or may not be important to Idahoans. But I think overall the public schools, at least the ones that I've seen and been a part of, do very well in Idaho.
Absolutely. Are there any other topics that I've overlooked this morning that you'd like to address while you're on the air? You've kind of got the floor. You tell me.
Oh, no. Sometime it might be good for Debbie or myself to talk about the state funding formula for education. It's been over 2 decades since they've done a revision of how they fund public schools, and they're considering that now. It's still in some preliminary stages. They've had a lot of public hearings on it, but they're going to change how they fund education. And I know Debbie, with her role on the State Board of Education, has been involved in that. I've attended some meetings on that, and the Speaker of the House, Scott Bedke's been on the committee looking at the changes that they're proposing. They come out with different models. They've been tweaking the model, and so I don't know what the final one's going to look like. It'll have to go through the legislature, but that's going to be a big change for education.
Chris James, fiscal manager for Cassia County Schools, a very nice gentleman, and we extend to you and your family and everyone a very Merry Christmas. Thank you, sir, for being on the program this morning.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Thank you, sir. And that's Cassia County School Days for today, brought to you by A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. You stop in and see these really good folks today. Let's see. I've got something else before we get Jeff on the phone. I want to remind you about a great big 3rd annual bread cow sale. This is a special sale presented by Burley Livestock on Monday, December 10th at 11 a.m. sharp. Remember now, I said Monday, December 10th at 11 a.m. sharp. They're going to have over 1,200 really good quality cows and heifers, top genetics, and all these cattle pre-consigned, good quality cattle, mostly 1 iron cattle, and these are all first calf and AI heifers, real good solid cows of all ages. Phone Cade Rogge if you want more information at 431-0074 or call the office at Burley Livestock, 678-9411. This sale on Monday, December 10th, a special bread cow sale at Burley Livestock. Don't you miss it. Right now, we're going to go to the phone line. And we have an old friend. Yes, sir?
I was just going to say, just give me a quick second. Darren is trying to get Jeff on the phone.
Well, tell him to get a rope and rope him. And we're going to have Jeff from Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More on our program in just a few minutes, hopefully. And I want to remind you, today is Lunch Bunch. We're going to be over at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner at 611 North Overland in Burley, in just a little bit more than an hour from now. So everybody try to be there. We're going to have gift certificates given by Walmart and Smith's Foods, Hanson Mortuary, Stokes Groceries, Doug Martin, and along with Denny's. All of it a lot of fun at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner at 611 North Overland in Burley. Wheels, did we get him?
Yes, sir. He's on the phone for you.
Well. We shift gears a little bit. My old buddy Jeff Bronson over at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Football season is over. I thought your boy played extremely well this year. And now we shift gears and go into basketball. How are you this morning?
Well, I'm doing good, Zeb, and I am ready for some basketball. How about you?
Well, I'm going to be there in the gym Friday night. You can count on that.
All right, well, I'll look for you. I'll save you a seat.
I'll look for that. Thank you. You know, this time of the year, I would imagine that you've had to take a can of 3-in-1 oil and go oil the hinges on the door, because a lot of people are coming in to beautify and comfortize their home for the Christmas holidays.
Zeb, we have a number of things right now, and so, we want to invite all of your listeners to come in. We've got great specials, especially for the Christmas season, which is coming up. And for all of the men that are listening, you know, if you listen closely to what your wife says, you know that they love to decorate and beautify their home, and they want it to be a place that's comfortable, not only for themselves and for you, but for family and for company. And so it's a great season to bring cheer to your wife or to your family members. And it may be time to replace that old worn-out sofa or to get a new dining room set for that Christmas dinner. So give those things some thought. We have some great ideas in all of those areas.
You know, you really are the professionals at listening to people and, knowing about their decor and what would go here, what would go there. But let's talk a little bit about floor coverings, too, because, boy, the first thing people see, I think, when they go into a person's home, they kind of look down at the floor. They want to see what kind of carpet, what kind of whatever they've got on the floor.
You know, Zeb, you really are correct. People that, they know that kind of sets the mood or the feel of the home. And so we have a couple of things in particular right now, right along those lines. One, we have right now our special, we're revisiting that, where you can install carpet. So carpet, pad, installation, everything included, carpet your entire home for only $69 a month. And even if you want to get a premium carpet, that only goes up to $79, even $89 a month. And so many people say, I just don't know how much it's going to cost to redo my carpet in my house, but I know that I want a new carpet. We know that most carpets, most homes qualify within that price range. Also, we have a brand new shipment of new styles and colors of luxury vinyl plank. This is the new vinyl flooring that you can install yourself that looks like wood. You can do weekend projects. Anyhow, we carry this in stock. So if you need any material, we carry everything in stock. If you're short a box, you need a box, come here and get it. We've got it, and we guarantee the lowest price.
You know, Jeff, I'm going to stop you right there, because just after a program segment I had with you not too long ago, a gentleman called, and it just piqued my interest right now in remembering this, and he said, what do you mean vinyl planks? A lot of people don't understand the terminology. What does it mean?
Great question. So, oftentimes, a person can purchase real authentic wood for their floor. That's great, but for many people that may be cost prohibitive, and there may be some maintenance involved, but it looks beautiful. Some of these new floors that they have now created, they're replicate wood planks, but they have a locking system so you can hook them together, and they are a floating floor, meaning that they do not secure to your subfloor, that you could potentially remove them if you wished. But they are waterproof, and they are designed to be self-installed, so you get a floor that's very durable, resilient. Many of these have 20-year warranties, but they're designed for situations that get a lot of heavy traffic or a lot of dirt, or they may have a risk of moisture, perhaps a basement or something like that. Very easy to maintain, but at a fraction of the price of a wood floor.
Okay, and then another quick question I wanted to talk to you about this morning, about window coverings.
Great question. You know, Zeb, this time of year, as we have wide temperature swings between hot and cold, we know that home temperatures can fluctuate. This is a great time to get window covering because you can regulate the temperature and insulate the home much better by having good window coverings. And because the sale that we have, which is 40% off, you can come in and purchase roller shades, wood shades or blinds, shutters, any kind of window covering that you can imagine, we carry. We have installers available as well, but this is a great time to get the window coverings because you get the great price reductions, and it can help moderate the temperatures of the home so you don't have those hot and cold temperatures.
Absolutely. And real fast, if they're looking for a good night's sleep, they might be able to find one right there with the mattresses on sale.
That's right. In fact, we still have one or two left. We have our queen mattresses, $99. If you want a heck of a deal for the company, come grab them. But we have plush, pocketed coil, queen mattresses for $299. If you say, well, I want something a little more premium, something for myself, something that's just the ultra comfort, we have several mattresses right now that you can get between $699 to $999. Deluxe sets, pillow top, plush top, pocketed coil, deluxe warranties, fantastic mattresses. We have a bed for everybody's needs.
I'll tell you what, folks, these are really nice, highly professional people that understand all about the beauty and the comfort of your home. The good folks at Lee's Furniture, Floors and More, 459 Overland in Burley, and they extend to you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Jeff, thank you much. See you at the ball game.
See you tomorrow, Zeb. Thank you very much.
Take care, buddy. Thank you. Nice people. And Jeff Bronson over there at Lee's Furniture, Floors and More. Once again, Lunch Bunch in about an hour over at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. Don't forget, we're going to be there. And then, mark this on your calendar, a quick reminder, the old-fashioned Denny's Christmas on Thursday, December 13th, coming up in a couple of weeks, right there at Denny's. Oh, we're going to have Christmas caroling and prizes, and Santa Claus is going to be there. Music with Ashley Ludlow. It's going to be great on December 13th at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. Don't you miss that. Right now, we're going to send it back over to our main studios. I'll be back in about 3 minutes. Don't you go away.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Oh, Merry Christmas. I love saying that. I do. Not going to quit either until after December 25th. Merry Christmas to you and your family, and welcome back. In a few minutes, we're going to boogaloo down the road and head for Lunch Bunch, but I've got a couple of things I need to mention first. I was reading a story the other day in Newsmax magazine, and when I came across this story, it absolutely just knocked my neck back against the wall. Listen to this. Nearly 1 in 5 hospitals are marking up the price of medicines by an astonishing 700% or more. They're marking up the medicine that you and I use and take in the hospitals by 700%. Now listen to this. This is according to a new analysis published by pharma.org, and the study looked at total costs in 3,792 hospitals, and here's what they found. Hospitals marked up the price of medicines on average nearly 500%. And 8% of the hospitals in this survey, the study showed that they marked up some of the medicine prices more than 1,000%. Wow. I mean, getting sick today is not an option. Becoming elderly today is not an option. And having a lingering or a chronic disease or problem is not an option anymore. People can't afford the medicine. It's bad enough over the counter to the people if they don't have insurance. And even with insurance, very prohibitive. But to be ripped off, and I'm not saying all hospitals, believe me, but when you look at 3,000 792 hospitals in a survey, and you find out that the price of medicines was jacked up 500% in some, and over 1,000% in others, doesn't it make you just a little mad, Bunky? It does me. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, I can barely hear you, Zeb. The reason the hospitals mark up stuff like that, you go to the hospital with a headache and they give you 2 aspirin and charge you $500 if you go to the emergency room, is because of all of the illegal aliens that use our emergency services and our hospitals and never pay their bills.
No, I agree with you. Caller, I hope you can hear me now. And Wheels, if he can't, regulate the gain over there. I had a doctor tell me, and I'm not going to mention what hospital, I'm certainly not going to mention what doctor, but he said that they have chronic abusers to the system, and 1 or 2 of the people that he was talking about are people that go into the emergency room almost every week. And I agree with you on the exorbitant costs caused by people that shouldn't be there in the first place.
Well, look what they did to that prenatal clinic in Rupert. It was so inundated. It opened its doors, and it was so inundated with illegal alien women, pregnant illegal alien women, that didn't pay their bills, that they bankrupted within a few months.
But
it's quite a deal.
Well, it is, and here's something.
One thing I wanted to talk to you about for just a second, if I could.
Yeah, go ahead. I got another call waiting, but go ahead real fast.
Yeah, I just barely passed your house. I'm coming up on Kimberly, but did you catch that news article about our schools of higher learning back east that are handing out hockey pucks to the staff?
Yes.
In the schools?
Yes.
In case there's an active shooter, you're supposed to throw a hockey puck at him. That would be my first choice.
I read that story. Caller, and I was absolutely aghast that the idiocy would be that prevalent to give somebody hockey pucks passed out in a position of higher learning as protection. But let me read back to you something really quick. And this was from an Illinois school superintendent by the name of Julie Kramer, and she completed police academy training so she could carry a firearm at the school in Illinois to protect her students. And this is what she said: if somebody comes into my school to hurt my kids, we have something other than a stapler to throw at them. We're no longer a soft target.
Yeah, it's no wonder that we're turning out the kind of people out of these schools that we're getting now.
Absolutely. I appreciate your call, and drive carefully, and may I extend to you a very Merry Christmas. Thank you so much.
You too, Zeb.
All right, take care. Caller number 2, sorry to keep you waiting. Go ahead, please. You're on the air.
Okay, Zeb. These people that are coming in here, sucking up our medical system, breaking us, they need to be singled out, sent back, and let their own government take care of them. It's not up to you and I to support the rest of the world, and this is what the problem is. These foreign governments are sending all their riffraff up here on us to support, and it's going to be a short amount of time before you and I as taxpayers can't afford to provide our own medical care.
Well, it's not a short amount of time. It's already here. And when you start talking about medicines being marked up 500 to 1,000%, it tells us that we are being abused and we are being kicked right in the side of the head by an abuse to our medical system in America. And the caller before was right. We're giving away so many things in freebies to others that are not citizens of this country and giving them first-class treatment, and then on the other hand, charging and absolutely bankrupting our own citizens.
Well, these other countries know that due to overpopulation, they want these people out of their country that's being dumped on the American taxpayers. And this bunch that's up there at the border right now needs to be singled out, put on a bus, sent back, because we don't want them and we don't need them.
Absolutely. And to the bleeding heart liberals out in the audience, I just wish they had the courage, and they don't. I wish they had the courage to call this program and try to explain their mamby-pamby taking of American citizens' money and giving it to someone else, and then we, the elderly, we, the sick, we, the underprivileged in our own country, we can't afford to get decent medical care. You're 1,000% right, Tony, and I appreciate your call. Thank you.
Okay, but I'll call you at home tonight.
All right, buddy. Thank you much. Appreciate that.
Okay.
Yeah, I tell you, when I read this story about some medicines were marked up 1,000%, I mean, I about fell out of my lazy boy. And this is just absolutely obscene. To think that nearly 1 in 5 hospitals, excuse me, I can't get rid of that sore throat. Nearly 1 in 5 hospitals are marking up medicines so high, 700% the average. Woo! We're going to do a weather forecast real quick, and the weather brought to you by our dear friends at Scarrow's Meats. Don Scarrow and the crew at 331 North Road, Jerome. And, of course, you can go to their website and see all the delicious meats they have at scarrowsmeats.com. Call them on the telephone, too, 324-7657. I mean, all the tri-tips and the prime ribs and the marinated pork ribs and the breakfast bacons and the sausages. It's all delicious. It's all for you at Scarrow's Meats. Caller, I'll be right with you. Here's Gina with the weather before.
Patchy freezing fog, maybe some rain showers and snow showers by tonight. Here's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. 30% chance of rain and or snow showers as we make our way through the day. Patchy freezing morning fog. Winds are going to be picking up as well. Gusts as high as 21 miles an hour. Expecting a high of 45 tonight. More rain and or snow likely. Snow up in the higher elevations. New snow accumulations of 1 to 3 inches is possible. Expecting a low of 29 tomorrow. That snow's going to continue in the morning. Tapering off by the afternoon. Expecting a high of 40. More snow showers for Friday night with a low of 21, and by Saturday, mostly sunny skies and 35. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to you by Scarrow's Meats. Don Scarrow and his great people at 331 North Road, Jerome. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Caller, I've got about 2 minutes left. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Zeb, where are you going to be about 5:30 Saturday?
I do not have a clue. If you want to call me on my cell phone after the program and converse about that.
Oh, no. Well, that's when Boise State hosts Fresno State for the Mountain West Championship game.
Well, you can bet that I'll probably be by a TV set someplace, because I, for one, if Boise State ends up winning that game and possibly getting a nod to go to the Fiesta Bowl, I will personally apologize to all the Boise State fans on the radio for me really dumping on Boise State this year for not playing very good football. I'll apologize if and when they win.
Well, when they were down 17-3 to Fresno the first time, and they said, well, we're just going to run the ball, and as they ran the ball, the confidence of the Boise State offensive line and running in the offensive team grew, and the defensive side of the ball for Fresno began to dwindle, and they drove it 3 times in a row, scored 21 unanswered points, and changed. I think that they're playing great ball, and I think this is going to be an interesting thing. But if Memphis beats University of Central Florida, then you're right. We will go to the Fiesta Bowl, and you never.
Yeah, but I got to wrap it up here, but I'm going to tell you something right now. I will make sure that I buy you lunch at Lunch Bunch, because Memphis is not going to beat USF. I'll tell you, that's not going to happen.
Well, I was hoping it would, so we could go to the Fiesta Bowl.
Okay.
We'll see, I guess.
All right, buddy. Have a Merry Christmas. Thank you very much. I want to remind everybody before I have to scoot that our major sponsor is going to be and is always, as they have been for many years, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. We really appreciate the job they do providing all the tires for your safe wintertime driving. All the tread designs, all the sizes for all the vehicles, the cars, the pickups, the SUVs. Stop in today and talk to them, and they will find the tires just right for your driving. And, of course, with all 7 locations, they've got the best in brake service, the best in, of course, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries. So don't forget to stop in and see them today. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Wheels, get on the microphone here real quick, if you would, please. Are you there?
Sir, I am.
Now,
yes.
I want to publicly thank you on behalf of my wife and I. Every Lunch Bunch day, you always kind of fill in a little bit and help us so that we got a little extra time to get on the road. And I hope you're going to be in attendance at Lunch Bunch. Are you not?
I am, of course, with my mom's business. She is not going to be able to make it this morning because she and her girls that she has over at her place are going to be doing some marketing. But me and my grandma are going to make it since she hasn't been there for a while.
Oh, well, we'll look forward to seeing you and everybody. Thank you, and I understand you're going to play a little Christmas music so that when we walk out the door, you'll have everybody in the right attitude. Wheels, thank you much. We're going to tell everybody right now that we're headed for Lunch Bunch. God bless you and your family, and we'll be back here next Monday at 8:06 on Zeb at the Ranch. And, of course, we always say the way things were are the way things ought to be, and the world needs more cowboys. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you Monday. Thanks, Wheels.